T.J. McConnell up top to Edmund Sumner. Good minutes off the bench for the Pacers. He had 17. McConnell had 7 assists, and the Pacers beat the Rockets 108-104. So they're locked into the 4-5 matchup with the Miami Heat, as we mentioned. The only question really is who's going to be 4 and who's going to be 5. I guess the second question would be who cares, because there's no home court, right? The other matchups are set now. So when you think about those other matchups, Milwaukee, Orlando, Toronto, Brooklyn, Philadelphia, Boston, we already talked about Miami, Indiana. What stands out for you in terms of most competitive series and the series you're most interested in watching?
Well, depending on what we know, Ben Simmons is out, and that 3-6 looks good. But Brooklyn, Matt, with the Vert and those guys that really competed since being in the bubble, it's like obviously no Kyrie and KD. So in Toronto, it shocked everybody all season long. I think that's going to be a fun, competitive series.
Absolutely. All right, let's take into what happened this afternoon in Orlando. For those of you joining us late, Pacers and the Rockets both came in 4-2, both missing some parts. Russell Westbrook, an MRI revealed a quad strain, so he was out today, also second of a back-to-back. But Eric Gordon played his first game in the bubble after hurting his ankle in late July, and Gordon looked pretty good with the ball in his hands.
Yeah, he really did, man. Looked quick on his feet, being able to get to his spots, getting to the rim, and a couple and ones.
Pacers without Malcolm Brogdon and T.J. Warren in this game. Started both Holiday brothers, and Victor Oladipo makes his way to the rim. Oladipo did not shoot the ball well at all in this game, just 7 of 26. But it was close through most of the afternoon. James Harden heating up, and he was the only Rocket knocking down shots. Other than Harden, the Rockets were 9 of 43 from three-point range. Fortunately for them, Harden was 7 of 14 as he goes for 45 points, his 21st 40-point game of the season. Something to watch as well for the Rockets heading into the playoffs next week. PJ Tucker tweaks the ankle, the leg there on that baseline defensive move. We'll know more about him in the coming days. Pacers. Doug McDermott.
Down some shots.
Justin Holiday for 3. They were 11 of 31 from the great beyond. And there's one of those offensive boards that really did hurt the Rockets. It wasn't a huge disparity, but in moments like that, you could really use a defensive rebound, and that is a concern for Houston come playoff time. Pacers win at 108-104, so they're now 5-2 in the bubble. Justin Holiday and Miles Turner each with 18 to lead the way for Indiana. Jonathan Fagan, who covers the Rockets, said Mike D'Antoni said P.J. Tucker, quote, should be fine, and left it at, quote, we hope with Westbrook we'll see next week. It's obviously a huge concern for the Houston Rockets. Hey, with a healthy Westbrook, what do you make of the Rockets' prospects in the Western Conference playoffs?
Man, if Russ can not get somehow close to 100% where he can be effective, like we've been talking about since he's been a Rocket, he's kind of like their 4 or 5 man, so to speak, because he attacks the paint so well and puts so much pressure on the defense. If he's not close to 100%, now you're asking guys like McLemore and Austin Rivers, who had his career high of 41 the other night, to play at a super high level. They've never been in this high-pack playoff situation, so it's going to be tough adding a guy like Jeff Green this late in the season as well, Matt.
All right, bottom line at tomorrow, we got those 4 teams vying for the 2 spot in the Western Conference: Portland, Memphis, Phoenix, San Antonio. Who wins their games and who winds up 8-9?
I think Portland will win their game with no Giannis. I think Ja Morant will figure out a way to muster and get a win. I think that's big, and then everything else kind of falls into place.
Then the rest of it doesn't matter.
It's Memphis and Blazers for the playing game.
Find out. It's going to be fun. More basketball coming.
For the advantage, anything can happen. You know, we ready for the challenge.
Dame working. Damian Lillard, give me 51.
That's my point guard.
We understand what's on the line, and we know what we got to do to give ourselves a chance in the postseason. And we hungry, and I think our team is playing like it.
Few teams really stood out as being on a mission here in the bubble. The Blazers, one of those teams.
We don't have an 8 seed mindset. We coming out here to make some waves and go play basketball and compete. And we expect to win.
Extra feed. Melo got a three.
That's light, Melo. That's light, Melo.
The playoffs started for the Blazers when they walked on campus here, and they're playing like it.
When we healthy, I feel we are one of the best teams in the whole NBA, and we need to make a way in, and this is the way.
CJ finds Dirk. Dirk! Over Mount Ball! Gets the dunk!
Hey, let's go! Let's go!
Remember, Portland is playing to get into the playoffs.
When you're playing for a chance to make the playoff, every game is a must-win.
CJ with the fundamentals and the finish.
Just like that. Just like that.
Lillard, 5 to shoot. That's a bomb! Oh my gosh! On a night where Damian Lillard has scored 61 points.
But our mindset is just being our work is only beginning, and it's still a really deep race. You know, there's a lot of teams competing for it, a lot of teams playing well. So we got to just continue moving on to the next game and handling business.
Time for winning performance fueled by Gatorade, and Damian Lillard is providing those winning performances, including Tuesday's 61-point outburst on just 32 shots against the Mavericks, his second 60-point game of the season, which vaulted the Blazers into the 8th spot in the Western Conference playoff picture. Still haven't guaranteed their spot in the play-in game, but they are 8th for the moment. The Grizzlies, meanwhile, have their free fall from the 8th position continuing. They're now 1-6 in the bubble after their loss to Boston yesterday. John Moran had 26, but the Grizz shot under 40%, played from behind virtually the entire game. They're now sitting 9th, but only by tiebreaker over the flying Phoenix Suns. The Suns won again yesterday. They're now 7-0 in Orlando after taking advantage of a depleted Sixers team. Devin Booker at 35, and the Suns are on their first 7-game win streak since March of 2010. Meanwhile, the Spurs still have a chance to set a new NBA record for consecutive playoff appearances. Rookie Keldon Johnson had a career-high 24 in San Antonio's win over the Rockets. San Antonio has reached the postseason in 22 straight years under Greg Popovich. That ties the NBA record. So here are the up-to-date standings. Remember, winning percentage is everything because the teams will not end up with the same number of games, not all of them anyway. And you see where it is, the Blazers and the Grizzlies with the advantages. All 4 of those teams will play tomorrow. 3 of them you'll see on TNT. Blazers get the Brooklyn Nets. Memphis is up against a Milwaukee Bucks team that won't have Giannis Antetokounmpo on the floor. He was suspended by the NBA today for that headbutt of Mo Wagner. The Suns have the Mavericks at 4 Eastern time tomorrow on TNT, and the San Antonio Spurs play the Utah Jazz at 6:30 Eastern time also on TNT. So let's bring in 3D once again. Obviously, the 2 teams in the 8 and 9 positions have the advantage going in. They need to win to stay in those spots. It's as simple as that. The other teams need some help. But when you think about the opponents, it's really difficult to handicap who's going to be on the floor, who's going to play regular minutes, and how to view the opponents in these games.
Yeah, man, especially with the suspension now with the Greek Freak from Milwaukee, so that makes that thing pretty wide open to see if Memphis can take care of business and not take them lightly. On the flip side of that, I look at Dallas and saying, will Dallas play Luka and Porzingis and guys like that because of the way Devin Booker and the Phoenix Suns are trying to go undefeated? But then you go all the way back to the top. Let's call it what it is. Dame time and the way he's been playing, the way he's been getting the ball to bounce the right way. The 2 big fellas back, Nurkic and Collins. The Portland Trailblazers, you go all the way back to the beginning, Matt. Dame Lillard talked this into existence. I did not want to come to Orlando just to come. I wanted to come and make some noise, and they're making a lot of noise.
You know, anything can happen, obviously. It's hard to see the Blazers not landing in at least that play-in game through all the various scenarios. I'm really curious about how Memphis responds up against a really good Milwaukee team. Even without Giannis, they're incredibly deep. And as Kevin McHale said here on Monday, his words, not mine, the Grizzlies look like they've forgotten how to play basketball. I mean, they just have not been very good. Obviously, the Jaren Jackson Jr. injury is a setback. The fact that Justice Winslow, who was acquired before the hiatus, has not been able to play for them, that's a setback as well. But this is a lot on this young Grizzlies team. The experience is invaluable moving forward, but it'll be interesting to see how they respond in this particular game with what's on the line.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see really Ja Morant. I think most people think he'll probably be Rookie of the Year, but let's call it what it is, Matt. When Jaren Jackson Jr. went down, you could see and feel the air kind of go out the sail, even though they're putting up the right fight, they're playing the right way. But you just don't have enough firepower late in the situation when they double-team Morant, get the ball out of his hands. And a lot of guys have never been in this situation. So a tough thing for these young guys to go through. They still have a puncher's chance because of Morant, and guys do play the right way. But I don't think they have enough, Matt.
Meanwhile, if you're the Phoenix Suns, there's the possibility that they go unbeaten in the bubble, a team that a lot of folks probably thought didn't belong in Orlando in the first place. They could go 8-0 and still not make it into the postseason. That
would be really, really crazy. And like you said, most people said, why is Phoenix going? There's no way they can get in. They weren't playing great basketball before we, broke in play. And now they come out and surprised everybody. Aiton's played well down low with double-doubles. Obviously, Devin Booker with the fadeaways and the game winner. But once again, Monty Williams has really shown that his coaching and changing the culture in the Phoenix in a short period of time has been working.
Spurs still playing the development game, they say, but they've still got a chance to get in this thing as well. The scenarios are crazy. The NBA couldn't have hoped for anything better than this when they came up with this play-in concept. That's kind of the way it looks right now.
Yeah. But it keeps it exciting, man. It's like, I don't know what any of that says, but I'm standing here looking and watching to see what's going to happen.
Yeah, you need to be some sort of math savant to keep track of all